Okay. All right. Welcome back from lunch. Welcome to the afternoon. We are set to start our second session, third session of the day, to try to help us understand government programs a little bit better. I know I get confused pretty easily, so I'm excited to hear this presentation. But we have Matthew Riley from the Gerson Family Resource Center and Jackie Stanton here with us. And I believe it's going to be a kind of informal Q&A more type of presentation. So
slow tech, folks.
Slow tech. So if you're joining us virtually, please be sure to either raise your hand, unmute yourself when you have questions, or you can type your question into the chat. We are monitoring that. And I will pass it off to our presenters today.
All right. Thanks, Megan.
Yes. So this one's already on.
Okay.
Okay. You see me on too?
Can you guys hear me okay?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, great. Okay. Well, thank you so much for having us today. Again, I'm Jackie and I'm with Matt Riley. And we're here to talk a little bit about benefits and then also healthcare programs.
Are we good?
Yeah, okay. So what we can do, I'll just give you, my part of the session is going to be to talk a little bit about like cash entitlement benefits. And then Matt's is going to be to talk about more of the Medicare, Medicaid, healthcare benefits, and also waivers. So please feel free to ask any questions. It's a lot of information. We could probably do this presentation in like a 3-day seminar. So we'll try to keep it entertaining and brief. And then again, sometimes your own questions we can target those a lot better. So briefly, for people that are of working age, these are the benefits we're going to talk about, which would be all of you. Okay. So the Social Security Administration administers 2 programs that are cash-based for people that are of working age. Okay. So person has a sudden unexpected health conditions and they're not able to resume working. There are 2 programs. Okay. One is called Social Security Disability Insurance. Has everyone heard of that? Great. Okay. So that's for people who have worked and paid in, right? So you have so many work credits, you call in, you say, hey, I worked, I worked for the man 20 years. And they go, oh yeah, you're vested, you have time in, and then you're entitled to a benefit based on how much you've earned over your work history. Okay. Any questions with that, or you want me to go? Okay. Then there's another program called SSI, Supplemental Security Income. So that program is for people who may not have had enough work credits in the system, and or people who don't get short-term disability from their employer. So a lot of times when a person is suddenly injured, employer offers a benefit called short-term disability. Sometimes they offer long-term disability as well. Take that if you can, obviously, from your employer. But if it's not available to you, you can get SSI or supplemental security income during the waiting period for disability insurance. Okay. SSI doesn't pay as much. It's more of a needs-based program. So it's a flat amount of money. A lot of people say it's not enough money to live on. I kind of agree. It's not a lot of money at all. Whereas disability insurance is based on your work and what you paid in. Okay. So that's a little more manageable. For people that are, those of you that are here, could you kind of nod your head if you're on Social Security Disability Insurance and you know that you are? Okay, I got a couple nods. Okay, so for people that are on Social Security Disability Insurance, okay, after 2 years on the benefit, you automatically enroll in Medicare, Part A and Part B. The government will automatically enroll you. It's a wonderful healthcare program. Go ahead and take it, right? There is a premium for Part B, but it's a wonderful healthcare program. For those of you that receive supplemental security income or SSI, you would be eligible for Medicaid, which is more of the needs-based healthcare program. Okay, you wouldn't be entitled to the Medicare. So If you have questions about that individually, feel free to bring them to my attention, stop me afterwards or whatever. Both programs are, like I said, are really, really good. The most important point I wanted to share with all of you today is with both SSI and SSDI, you absolutely can, and please work if you want to. People think that they're receiving Social Security disability or SSI. That means that they are never allowed to work again. Absolutely not. That is absolutely not true at all. Social Security has a whole resource of work incentives that encourage people to go to work if they want to. You don't have to, but you certainly can. And why not take advantage of work incentives if they're there? Okay. So I'll talk about a couple right now, and then I'll let Matt talk a little bit about more of the healthcare benefits, I think, which are really, I know a lot of people worry about losing their Social Security, then losing, as a result, maybe losing their healthcare coverage. We don't want that. We want you to maximize your potential, okay? But some basic work incentives. So has anyone ever worked with their benefits so far? I have a couple yeses, couple yeses. Okay, great. A couple no's. Okay. Yeah, I know a lot of historically people would say, well, I'm not sure. I don't want to take that risk, right? That makes complete sense. So the work incentives were built into the Social Security system for the very reason of allowing people to try work and have basically feel safe that they're not going to lose their benefits. Okay. So if you're receiving Social Security disability insurance, okay, you automatically get a 9-month trial work period. Who knows what that is? What's a 9-month trial work period? Shout it out. Don't be shy. And anyone who's electronic, shout it out too. What's the 9-month trial work period? You know, Megan.
Where you can work for 9 months and they still pay you.
Absolutely. Your full check, you can make $1 million a month.
Yes.
Thank
Yep.
you. Yes, awesome. Thank you so much for chiming in. Absolutely. You could work as little or as much as you want. You could go back to your old employer. You can make your full salary. You can make more money. Absolutely. You still get your Social Security benefits. The idea, hence the term trial work period. You get to try out work and make sure it's a good fit, right? Okay. Wonderful work incentive. Thank you so much for saying that. All righty. The other thing too, with people that receive supplemental security income, you're not going to automatically go off of benefits. Your benefits will reduce, but you're always going to make more money working than not. I'll say that again. You're always going to make more money working than not. So why not work, right? If you can get hired, I mean, everybody's hiring. Go for it. Try it out. Have a little fun. Give it a shot. You're always going to make more money working than not. Okay. I think what else? Let's see. So there's a lot of safety nets for your healthcare coverage as well. So one of them, a safety net that goes along with SSI is you'll be able to maintain your Medicaid. So even if let's say you work so much that your SSI cash check zeroes out, you're still on SSI. You're just not getting a cash check. You're getting your paycheck from your employer. You're still going to maintain your Medicaid. Okay. You're still going to maintain your Medicaid. You're not going to lose your Medicaid. Okay. There's another quick program that I want to share with you, and then I'll turn it over to Matt. For those of you that are of working age, okay, there's a program called Medicaid buy-in for workers with disabilities. Has anyone heard of that? Yes, I see some yeses and some nos. What's Medicaid buy-in for workers with disabilities? Shout it out.
You're allowed to make larger income than you used to and still stay on Social Security, I believe.
And Medicaid. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. So
Can you just repeat that for us?
sure.
I just was informed that you're allowed to make more than you previously were and stay on Medicaid.
Right. So it's called, thank you. Absolutely. And yes. So Medicaid buy-in for workers with disabilities. So you first have to be determined eligible through the Social Security standard. So you have to be a person of working age with a disability and on Social Security benefits of some kind, right? So I think it's between the ages of 16 and 64. So have to be a working age, right? you have to apply through the County Job and Family Services for Medicaid buy-in for workers with disabilities, right? So you're saying, yes, I'm a person who has a disability, I'm going to work, I still need Medicaid. Okay, so correct, you maintain your Medicaid and you still go to work. You might pay a little bit of a premium, just like you pay a health insurance premium, but you maintain all of the benefits that you had under your Medicaid plan. Okay, it's a wonderful, wonderful safety net program for people who want to try working. Most states now in the United States have Medicaid buy-in for workers with disabilities. We in Ohio have Medicaid buy-in for workers with disabilities. Okay, the other thing that's a nice safety net that's built into the system is, let's say you're working and after a year, maybe you have to go stop working because of a health condition. You have 6 months to stay in the program before you would have to, you basically have 6 months to find another job. If you're not working, you're just going to stay in Medicaid. So you're not really, if your income's going to go back just to your Social Security, you're going to be fine. Does that make sense? So another safety net to allow you to keep your Medicaid. Okay, and work. All right. So, okay. Any other questions? Any other comments? All
Yeah,
right.
I
Oh,
got a long couple questions. I'm not gonna even lie here.
that's
Cause
okay.
all right, so I'll just give you my story. So I'm 25, right?
Uh-huh.
And basically I've tried to I want to go back out and work. Uh, I know that this Social Security is it's not even enough to be able to take care of myself. I can't be independent. It's
That's
no
an
way.
understatement.
It's no way impossible. It's not possible for me to be independent. So
Right.
when I talk to people, though, they tell me that you need to get a job that's going to be worth it. I go to get a job at Walmart being a cashier, that's still not going to be enough, or it might be enough, but you're not going to be able to do things that you know what I'm saying. I'm only 25. You know,
Right.
I need a,
Right.
I want to have a family, a house, all that. So
Right.
that's not going to be enough to support that. So then
Correct.
they tell me that I need to go through these programs like OEDD and stuff like that. But they tell me it just doesn't make sense to me. What am I supposed to do to, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
further myself and become fully independent? Because I don't want to have
For
roommates. You know, I'm 25. I got a friendly. I don't want to have, you know what I'm saying. I want to have a
sure.
wife, kids, all that. You know what I'm saying. I'm young still. So
Sure.
what steps do I take to get there? You know what I'm saying?
Great. Absolutely, sir. Thank you for the question. It's an excellent question. Sometimes, um, the best way to get more income and a better quality of life would be to skill upgrade. So sometimes after an unexpected injury, the work you did before may have brought in a wonderful living, right? But if you were doing physical work and that's not feasible or as feasible as it used to be, you may need to look at a career change, which is not an easy thing to ponder. It sometimes takes, 3 to 5 years to really retrain yourself for a new career. But that's where Voc Rehab comes into play. So you were working, before your injury, you paid taxes. Our tax dollars go to what program called vocational rehab. So you want to access vocational rehab and allow them to help you with maybe finding work or finding a way to skill upgrade so you can make $25 an hour versus $9 an hour and make a good quality of living. So, do folks know how to connect with vocational rehab in your area? Okay, because if not, I can share the local number. Are you in Cleveland, sir?
I'm actually in Lake County.
Lake County. Okay. Um, yeah, that's a great so there is a VR program that serves Lake County. Matt's going to look up the number for you and we'll share it. Okay. So you want to give them a call and say you'd like to refer yourself for vocational rehab services. Just know that it's not going to happen overnight. It's probably going to take some time. They let you put together a plan, but they also let you do some career exploring to look at work that you might enjoy. Okay. They don't tell you to do anything. They let you do what you want to do. Okay. All right. Yes, sir.
So as you're talking to, is that involving like college courses? That's the pathway to go back to some kind of college classes?
That's an individual question, and I'm so glad you asked that. So the question was, is vocational rehab a pathway to college classes? For some people, it can be. So I was speaking with a gentleman the other day who had an injury in a warehouse. So he got injured working in a warehouse and he used vocational rehab. It took him a couple of years, but he actually went and trained for a different program altogether. And then he was able to reemploy. So it all together, he said it took him about 2 years to basically get the new skills that he wanted. But he was successfully working full-time in a new field with the help of vocational rehab. So yeah, so they can help you pay for school expenses. They allow you as a student, just like any other student, to use grants and scholarships and you don't have to use loans. A lot of people think you do. You can use grants, you can get a scholarship or a couple, but they will help you towards your career goal. Yes, that's a great question. Matt's still looking up the number for Lake County VR for you, sir.
You're great. Thank you.
Yes,
With that later, if you do.
yeah, okay.
The internet is.
If you're tech savvy, sir, you could, do you have a computer? Do you use a computer on your phone?
I don't know how you use a computer on the phone, but I use my phone. Yes.
Oh, okay. So you could actually go to the website as well and apply for services on their website, which is ood.ohio.gov. So Dr. Wilson, if you could would you mind putting that in the chat?
Yeah, he
So it's
just
OOD.
sent it to me, but I got something to say with that though, because
Yes, sir.
I did OD or what is it, ODD, right?
Yeah, OOD, yeah.
Yeah, I signed up, and so basically I did everything. I pretty much did everything. And
Yeah.
they were looking for jobs. They were looking for jobs that best suit me.
Okay.
It's been like 2 years, going on 3, and well, it's been 2 years. They were working with me for 2 years, and I had some phone complications, and I couldn't get back to them. And I guess they were trying to contact me. And then
Yeah.
when I got my phone back, I called them because I got see their voicemails, and they told me that they canceled my plan after 2 years of being on it because I didn't respond one time.
No worries. Don't even worry. They do that up to everybody all the time. Don't fret.
I'm like,
I
what?
know. I'm so sorry. I know. You can always go back, sir.
Yeah, they said I had to redo the whole process again.
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
But
what?
it's really not. Yeah, that's true. But you know what? You could call and you can start over if you up to it. Sometimes the second time around is the magic time, you know? Then I can share the number if you would like. So it's 216-227-3250. I encourage you to do that because I will say in my work, I've been doing this work for a long, long time. I won't tell you how long. People go back to VR, multiple times, and sometimes it takes to the third or fourth try before it's a really good fit. But don't give up because you've got a goal, and you've got something in mind. So keep at it, okay, sir? And know that there's options out there for you. All right. And you might find a counselor that you really connect with this time through, and you might just, things will take off. So, all right. Thank you so much. So I'm going to turn it over to Matt because I know we only have a half hour. So Matt, all yours.
Thanks, Jackie. I don't know, is this?
It sounds like
Good,
it's still on.
okay. I dressed to match the carpet today, just. if anyone was wondering. So thanks, and to piggyback with OOD, I think it is really important, to work with your OOD counselor in terms of looking at employment opportunities and career. Those monies are federal dollars. Those federal dollars are there to assist folks with disabilities to find employment. And so it's challenging the OOD counselor and coming in with as many different ideas and questions as possible really does make a difference in terms of the quality of services that you'll receive, and also makes a difference in terms of where you go as far as employment is concerned. It's challenging, there's no question about it. And a lot of times the OOD counselors will not be sure where to go either, but their job is to be a resource, and their job is to try to find answers with you to get to the place that you want to. So, you're making a plan, you're identifying goals and objectives, but it's important to work towards those things to try to see how successful you can be. I know, especially for younger individuals with disabilities, it becomes almost insurmountable in terms of finding employment. OOD's part of OOD's job is to represent you to the employment community, to represent you to employers, to advocate for your opportunities, to advocate for accommodations for people with disabilities. And it's the disability community really has to continue to press OOD to be able to do what they have to do. That's what their mandate is. That's what their job is. So it's not just about finding employment for people who are easy to employ, but it's really about finding employment for those who are, most challenged in terms of trying to find a suitable employment. What's interesting to me is that work has always been paired with health insurance in the United States. We always talk about, the Social Security Act, which was established in 1935, was really the first attempt at being able to get some type of support, healthcare support for individuals and for Americans. And since 1935, work has always been tied to employment. And we haven't been successful at being able to make that split yet. And so even today, when we talk about healthcare, we always talk about employment. Social Security was finally separated in the development of Medicare and Medicaid in 1965, and that was by Lyndon Johnson. But prior to that, Social Security was the primary vehicle for all kinds of insurance for individuals who were not working. So when it was established, it was written, the act was an attempt to limit what were seen as dangers in the modern American life, including old age, poverty, unemployment, and the burdens of widows and fatherless children. So those were the groups of people that were included in the original Social Security Act. It doesn't say anything about people with disabilities in there. The first Social Security payment, interestingly enough, was made to a gentleman here in Cleveland, Ohio, by the name of Ernest Ackerman. He was a motorman. He retired for one day. His first Social Security check was 17 cents. So not much has changed, no. But when we go back and we look at, the development of initiatives like Medicare and Medicaid, again, it's still tied to employment. And when Lyndon Johnson signed the Social Security Act in 1965, again, he expanded it to include hospital, post-hospital extended care for Americans and home health coverage, but it still was not really providing a full array of services for individuals, and it continued to develop from there. And again, in 1972, I think, or 70, yeah, it was 72, Richard Nixon, again, was trying to expand coverage for people with disabilities, and again, expanding the opportunities that people had through Medicare and Medicaid. So the establishment of Medicare, what is Medicare? Well, Medicare is really a hospital program primarily, and Medicare is needs-based. So that means that an individual is found to have specific needs that require hospital care and that have specific needs as far as doctor bills and outpatient care. And Medicare, as most of you know, is divided up into three different sections. Part A, which is hospital insurance. Part B, which is doctor bills, outpatient services, home health care, And then there's Part D, which is prescription drug coverage. The original Medicare today is still something that the majority of people choose, as opposed to the Medicare Advantage plans. Medicare Advantage plans were put in place in the 1990s, and Medicare Advantage plans are actually there to provide a broader range of health care. And they're also put in place because they were seen as an economically more efficient way to provide services. So Medicare Advantage plans are managed care organizations that take care of your healthcare insurance. Then there is Medigap, which is a supplement plan. And the Medigap plan is there to make up the difference in terms of co-payments that you have through original Medicare. And Medigap, again, is a private insurance program. So that's not something that's paid for by the federal government. That's something that carries with it an additional co-payment on the part of the individual that's being covered. And a lot of folks, when they look at original Medicare, they can see that you have specific co-payments and deductibles that you're responsible for. They can't pay for those things. And a Medigap or supplemental insurance is a way to help to cover some of those costs and to defray the expenses. When we look at Medicaid, we see that Medicaid is a completely different animal, because Medicaid is income based. And Medicaid is not a federal program, but it's a federal state partnership. So Medicare is run by the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. It's a federal program. Medicaid is a state program. It's a program administered through the Department of Job and Family Services. And a lot of people get the two of them confused. And a lot of people think that, well, if I have Medicare, I have Medicaid also. And it's not the same. So in order to be eligible for Medicaid, you have to meet their income and eligibility requirements. And Medicaid is primarily focused on helping individuals who are between the ages of 18 and 59. And Medicare traditionally has worked with individuals who are age 65 plus. As Jackie said earlier, individuals who are collecting Social Security disability insurance and have been on Social Security disability insurance, SSDI, not SSI, are eligible for Medicare after 24 months. But you have that waiting period from the time that you become eligible for SSDI until you're eligible for Medicare services. And if you meet the income eligibility requirements, you could also receive Medicaid. And so, it's important to make sure that you're aware of what the different requirements are for the different insurance programs. Make sure that you ask the questions, because if you don't ask the questions, then you may miss out on benefits and opportunities that you're eligible for. Medicaid also has what's called waivers, and those waivers are exceptions. A lot of people say, well, why do you want me to apply for a waiver? Well, waivers through Medicaid are actually demonstration projects which are proposed by the states to the federal government. So waivers are, again, exceptions to the original Medicaid policy. In Ohio, there's a lot of different waivers. There's the Ohio Assisted Living Waiver, Ohio Choices Waiver, Ohio Home Care Waiver, Ohio Integrated Delivery Care System Waiver, Ohio Passport Waiver. So what waiver, if any, am I eligible for? And what does that mean for me personally? I think as an adult, between the ages of 18 and 59, the two waivers that are most important to us are the Ohio Home Care Waiver and the MyCare Ohio Waiver, which is the Ohio Integrated Care Delivery System Waiver. MyCare Ohio is much easier to say. So the Ohio Home Care Waiver is a waiver that's administered completely through the state of Ohio. And the Ohio Home Care Waiver is, again, a waiver that is focused on an individual who meets income and eligibility requirements, and they're found eligible for services to keep them from moving into a nursing care facility or a long-term care facility. So with the Ohio Home Care Waiver, they have a single point of contact that is identified. But again, with the Ohio Home Care Waiver, it isn't as self-directed as the MyCare Ohio waiver. And the MyCare Ohio waiver is, again, a waiver that's built on a managed care model. So in Ohio, CareSource is the managed care organization that administers the MyCare Ohio plan, and they are the ones that you would work most closely with in order to be able to get services through the MyCare Ohio plan.
You have 2 minutes, Leah, a couple more minutes.
Just a couple more minutes? Okay. So those are general overviews. Anybody got questions? I'm sure you all do. And if I can't answer the questions, I defer to Steve.
I don't even know which one of them on.
I know that's a lot of information. You know, when Dr. Wilson talked to me about this, he was saying, well, what kind of title would you give to this presentation, Matt? And I was like, I don't know. And he goes, well, so he said, understanding government benefits. And then I thought about it a little bit later, and I should have put in there confusion reigns, because that's really how we characterize this whole idea of healthcare and employment. People really need to find someone that can be an advocate for them, who's going to be available to them to help to ask the right questions and to find the right resources to get the answers. That's what's really critical. And that's really the message that I'd like to leave with you today, is to make sure that you ask those questions and then you seek out the resources that you need in order to be able to answer those questions. I don't have all the answers. My best friend is the internet to start off with. And my second best friend is the phone, because those are the two things I use most in terms of being able to provide, supports to the people that come to me on a daily basis. And I think that's what's really important for people with disabilities to recognize, is to make sure that you use your voice, and they make sure that you challenge the resources that are out there that are put in place for you, because these programs are for you. And they're not, to look pretty on a piece of paper, but they're to be used. And those dollars are there for you. And those dollars should be spent on being able to provide the services that you're requesting and you need to become as independent as possible in the community. The young man that talked earlier, it's really important for us to recognize it's frustrating for a 25-year-old person with a physical disability to be able to reintegrate it into the community. The resources aren't good, and the safety net isn't there, but we can make that safety net happen if we use our voices to request those services.
So that's a great ending. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Half an hour is not long enough to go over all of this stuff. So we appreciate it. And if anybody needs individual questions or anything like that, we can definitely connect where you need to go. So let me